Picture this. You're at a rooftop party in Manhattan. Two people walk in. The first one is draped head to toe in designer logos. You can spot the brand from across the room. The second person walks in wearing a clean, simple outfit. Nothing flashy, no visible labels, no screaming monograms. By the end of the night, everyone is talking to the second person. Why? Because real power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't have to. There is a war happening right now, not on the streets, not in politics, but on your body. Every single morning when you get dressed, someone is quietly winning money out of your pocket. And the scariest part? Most people are not just okay with it, they are enthusiastically paying for the privilege of being used. Today, we are going to expose exactly how the fashion industry turned insecurity into the most profitable business model in human history, and more importantly, how you can completely opt out, keep your money, and end up wealthier than the people you were trying to impress. My name is Mano, and for the past decade, I have studied behavioral economics and the psychology of consumer spending. If you have ever bought something expensive just to feel a certain way around certain people, this video was made specifically for you. Hit subscribe because what we cover today is going to permanently change how you see every store, every ad, and every outfit you put on. Let's start with the root of the problem. Human beings are wired for social belonging. This is not a flaw. It kept our ancestors alive. When you belonged to the tribe, you survived. When you were cast out, you died. That survival wiring still runs in your brain today, even though the stakes are completely different. The fashion industry discovered this psychological vulnerability decades ago, and they built an empire on top of it. Here's how the system works. A brand creates an image, exclusive, glamorous, aspirational. They hire the most beautiful models, the most iconic celebrities. They associate their name with wealth, success, power, romance. Then they sell you a product and tell you, consciously or not, that buying this product makes you part of that world. You're not just buying a belt, you're buying an identity. You're buying the feeling of having arrived. And the most profitable products they sell are the ones with the logo front and center, because those items serve a double purpose. You pay them, then they wear their advertisement. You become a human billboard, distributing their marketing budget across every street corner, every office, every restaurant you walk into. They do not pay you for this service. You pay them, often hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars, for the privilege of working for them for free. When you frame it that way, it sounds absurd, but billions of people do it every single day without questioning it for a single second. Let's talk numbers, because this is where the illusion completely falls apart. A logo-heavy designer t-shirt retails for anywhere from $400 to $700. The actual cost to produce that shirt, the cotton, the labor, the stitching, is somewhere between $8 and $15. That's a markup of over 4,000%. You're not paying for quality, you're paying for 4 letters stitched onto fabric. Now let's look at what that same money does when it works for you instead of against you. $500 invested into a broad market index fund, left alone for 25 years, grows to roughly $4,300 at a conservative average return. That same $500 spent on a logo shirt is worth $0 in 5 years, maybe $40 if you're lucky enough to resell it. But it gets worse when you zoom out. The average person who is caught in the status spending cycle is not buying one logo item, they're buying several per year. They're financing some of them. They're paying interest on things that are actively losing value. The financial destruction compounds quietly in the background, while the logo is front and center, visible to everyone around them. This is not about being cheap. This is about understanding which direction your money is traveling, toward you or away from you. Here's something fascinating that gets overlooked in conversations about fashion and status. Study the wealthiest people on the planet, not the celebrities who are paid to wear things, but the self-made billionaires, the founders, the old money families who have held wealth across multiple generations. Their wardrobes are almost universally understated. Simple cuts, neutral colors, high-quality fabrics with zero visible branding. This is not an accident, and it's not because they can't afford the logos. It's because at a certain level of actual security, you no longer need external validation. You don't need a stranger's glance of approval. Your confidence doesn't live in your collar. It lives in your net worth, your relationships, your track record. The logo becomes not just unnecessary, it becomes a signal of insecurity to people who understand the game. Meanwhile, the loudest dressers are often the most financially fragile. Not always, but the pattern is consistent enough to be alarming. The pressure to signal status through clothing is highest among people who feel the least secure. And the brands know this. They prey on it. They market their most logo-heavy, entry-level pieces directly to younger, aspirational consumers who are the most emotionally vulnerable to the promise of status. It's extraction dressed in elegance. There's another layer to this that most people miss entirely: the deliberate impermanence of logo fashion. Luxury brands engineer their products to go out of style. The specific logo that's everywhere this year becomes dated in 3 years and embarrassing in 5. This is not a side effect, it's the entire strategy. If your wardrobe is built around logos, you've subscribed to a cycle that requires constant reinvestment just to stay current. You're renting status, not owning it. Compare that to someone who builds a wardrobe around quality, fit, and timelessness. A well-constructed wool coat purchased 10 years ago still looks sharp today. A pair of plain, well-fitted dark trousers will never embarrass you. Classic leather shoes patina beautifully over time and communicate taste in a way that no logo ever could. One approach costs you money every season indefinitely. The other is a one-time investment that compounds in style over years. The irony is the person who buys quietly and thoughtfully ends up looking significantly more put together than the person chasing trends and spends dramatically less doing it. So how do you actually change this pattern? Because knowing the logic is not always enough. This is deeply emotional. Status anxiety is real. Social pressure is real. Let's talk about how to address it practically. The first move is to identify exactly who you're dressing for. Sit with that honestly. Is it a specific person? A group? A version of yourself you're trying to project? Most people, when they examine this clearly, realize they're trying to impress people whose opinions they don't actually respect, whose financial situation is no better than their own, and who are too consumed by their own insecurities to pay you much attention anyway. This is called the spotlight effect in psychology, the consistent human tendency to massively overestimate how much other people are observing and judging us. They're not watching you as much as you think. They're starring in their own movie, worrying about their own outfit, their own debt, their own image. The second move is to create a rule that reframes luxury entirely. You are not allowed to buy luxury items with your labor income. You can only buy them with income generated by your investments. This single rule restructures your entire relationship with money and spending. It forces you to become an investor before you become a consumer. It delays gratification in a way that actually builds the wealth that makes the luxury genuinely affordable one day. The third move is to study what quiet confidence actually looks like. Start noticing the people in your life or public life who carry themselves with the most authority and ease. Pay attention to how they dress. Chances are it's clean, simple, and unbothered. Let that be your reference point, rather than a fashion ad designed by a marketing team whose only job is to manufacture desire in you. Here's the truth about status that the industry will never advertise. The most powerful status symbol that exists is not a handbag or a sneaker or a watch. It's options. It's the ability to walk away from a job you hate. It's the ability to cover an emergency without panic. It's the ability to take a year and travel, or invest in a business, or help someone you love without asking anyone's permission. That kind of freedom doesn't fit on a billboard. You can't photograph it, but the people who have it carry it in how they move, how they speak, and how completely unbothered they are by what anyone thinks of their wardrobe. That's the real flex, and it's built not by spending more, but by spending intentionally. So here's your action step today. Go to your closet and pull out the most logo-heavy item you own, and ask yourself honestly, does this item serve me, or am I serving it? If the answer is the latter, sell it. Invest the money and start building the kind of wealth that doesn't need to be advertised. Become the person who owns the building, not the person renting space on someone else's billboard. If this video shifted your perspective, drop a comment below. I want to know, what is the most overpriced logo item you have ever seen someone buy? Let's talk about it. Subscribe for more content on building real wealth and seeing through the systems designed to keep you spending. See you in the next one.